Somebody did. Somebody touched it. Okay. Good morning to fellow Toastmasters, both in person and in Zoom land. I don't know who's on Zoom right now. I know I saw Eric. Who? Okay, Eric and Les right now. I don't even remember the date. What is the date today? Whatever. Anyhow, welcome to the meeting this morning. Can everybody stand for the pledge to the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Does anyone have any announcements? Don't everybody jump up at once here. Yeah. Well, I know, Steve, we have Star Search this weekend, theoretically Saturday. We aren't sure about the smoke conditions. We will announce it on our Facebook page about noon Saturday, because there's no sense in setting up and everything if you can't see through the sky. So if anybody's interested in coming watch the stars, check our Facebook page, Wilson Star Search. Other than that, I have inspiration from Sylvia.
Morning's inspiration. We all do good work, important work. Instill in us gratitude for the community, for this community, and for the good work we do together. Help us see in all of us as students and leaders. Let's continue this throughout our day today. Amen.
Thank you, Sylvia. And I raised the mic back up for me, and it's gonna have to be dropped down for our Toastmaster of the day. Just a little bit. Jackie Kenny, mom of the club. Who's bringing her teacup up because she's properly going to give us the toast, I bet.
You are right. Happy to be here this morning. I hope all of you are happy to be here this morning. Although I'm not seeing a lot of faces, which is kind of too bad. I think we should have a toast to us because we get up early in the morning to come here and improve ourselves and help each other. So here's to us.
Damn right.
All right. Let's get things started. I saw Les, who wasn't quite sure if he was going to make it this morning. He sent me a message to let me know that. So I prepared a word just in case he didn't make it, but I'd rather hear from you, Les. What have you got for us this morning?
I had a word, but then actually considering what's been going around in the skies for the past few days, I'm using the word smoky.
Okay. And you are also grammarian.
And I'm after.
Let us know.
I will be watching the words, and I'm also the master. So I have 3 jobs today.
Yes, you do. And we're calling it WAG. It's a little bit of everything. Thank you for
You're
the
welcome.
word smoky. I know we're all kind of wary about the air quality the last few days. Our jester is Thomas Heldwine, but I don't see him there. So if anybody does have a jest they'd like to give at some point, I'd appreciate that. And the peanut gallery has been heard from. David, come and tell us what humor you have for us this morning. All right, thank you, David.
Stop that. All right. Oh dear. Blistering hot day in July. Two nuns go into a convenience store. One says, you know, sister, cold beer would be great today. And the other one said, Sister Monica, have you lost your mind? We can't go up there with the clerk with the cold beer. Sister Monica says, don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. Puts the beer on the counter, 6-pack. And leans over and looks at the clerk and says, Sister and I wash our hair in beer. And the clerk reaches behind him, puts 2 bags of pretzels in the bag with the beer and says, the curlers are on me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you do have a job this morning. Why don't you come on back up here and tell us about your position this morning?
I'm the quiz master. At the end of the meeting, I will ask questions to find out what we learned this morning from our brother and sister Toastmasters. And the interesting thing is, there's going to be some questions about this smoke and everything being smoky.
You know, you have to applaud for David, right? He doesn't like to do anything without applause. We have several vacancies in our schedule today besides the quote master. You have a quote? Oh, well, we would love to hear your quote, Jill. Thank you for making that effort.
I get a thing and email it from the Old Farmer's Almanac every day. And there's always a quote in it. Usually it's something that's in the out in the free no copyright zone. This one is from James Russell Lowell, who lived from 1819 to 1891. And with the exception of the fact that it's so smoky out, it sounds like nice. I like this. In June 'tis good to lie beneath a tree, while the bliss season comforts every sense, steeps all the brain in rest and heals the heart, brimming it o'er with sweet unawares. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, there's no table topics master. The table topics master went on vacation. There's no general evaluator. I got a message from Beth late yesterday that she has to take Katie for an MRI today, so she won't be here. So how about if all of you become the general evaluators and you can let me know what you think at the end of the meeting? That way we don't have to fill that vacancy. All right. So since there is no jester, Thomas is lost in space, we'll just skip that part. And we'll move on to table topics. And I'll do table topics. And some of you are going to do double duty today because there are only 8 people in the room and I'm one of them. Yeah, 2 on Zoom. Okay, 10 people. Horrors. I can't even imagine why we have such a small group today. Maybe the smoke has really been getting people down. I don't know. I'm going to come up with some table topics questions on the fly. Oh, there's 3 on Zoom. Mark, Les, and Eric. Somewhere, they're all there. Eric, are you there? We're just gonna have your picture today, I guess. We're not gonna have you zooming in from work. Okay. Let's see. There, oh, all right, Eric. Real live Eric.
Hello,
Good morning, Eric.
Lauren, Jackie.
The word of the day is smoky. And I'm going to ask you how you came to become a Toastmaster. What inspired you? I know Kate brought you to your first meeting, I think, but what inspired you to stick with it all this time? It's been a few years now that you've been a Toastmaster and you've participated on a lot of levels. So let's hear from you about your adventure as a Toastmaster. Eric.
Thank you, ma'am. Table Topics Master. I've been going on with Toastmasters for about over 7 years now, so that's quite an accomplishment, to be honest with you, because what brought me to Toastmasters is with my public speaking, I never took public speaking in my life. And when Kate brought me into Toastmasters, changed the whole world for me. And that, I believe, is what is now helping me become more better as a club officer and make me more better as a person, honestly. And I'm going to use Smokey after dealing with the wildfire smoke that we had yesterday. I hope everybody is recovering from that, especially you should have seen what happened down in New York City. My goodness. But getting back to your question, Jackie, Toastmasters has been a stepping stone, a helpful tool for me, and I'm glad that I was able to help other Toastmaster clubs, especially when I was with Rhetorical Roar. I brought some of my suggestions, brought some of my helpfulness to them to make them more better. So being part of Toastmasters has been a whirlwind for me, and I am just so glad that I'm a part of this worldwide organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, now let's see who else is going to do double duty today. How about Marty? I know Marty's always willing to get up and speak, even though he is a speaker today. Marty, I would like you to also tell us about your path to becoming a Toastmaster, what brought you here to begin with, and what has kept you coming all this time.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As I rise out of the smoke in the north end of Lockport and come to this meeting, I see many bright faces. I wish there were more. Good morning, everyone. What brought me to AM Lockport and what keeps me coming back? Dave Licata brought me to AM Lockport. What keeps me coming back? What keeps me coming back is the momentum that I feel that I've gained, especially in Pathways. I truly enjoy Pathways. I remember when Pathways first came out, I needed to really focus on understanding it. So I spent a few nights actually at Denny's restaurant by myself with my laptop and a pad of paper and just delved right into it. I just took the bull by the horns and I enjoyed it. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's cleared a lot of smoke in my mind that otherwise it was normally clear, but I enjoy the momentum I gained with Pathways. It's motivating to see how you're progressing and to see the percentage of completion and the different awards that are available in a new format is fresh and new to me and invigorating, and I thoroughly enjoy it. That's what keeps me coming back. Thank you, Madam Topics.
Thank you, Marty. And one last question to Jill. I couldn't resist because we all watched your path to get to the meetings to begin with. So I think you should tell us a little bit more about it.
Ah, yes. My smoking hot, fast path to being a Toastmaster. Well, we all know Steve brought me. Yeah, he's got who, me? Yeah. My first experience is he actually took me to the area contest that he was participating in. That was down in McKinley Mall. But then I don't know why I started coming to the meetings with him, but I did. And I truthfully can say I enjoyed them tremendously. And the camaraderie of the group and the caring. I have never been around a group that just kind of engulfed you so much, so fast. Even though it took me a long time to go from just coming to actually getting that. So what made me finally join was I was kind of planning on it all along. But I was waiting for pathways to actually be introduced. It was, I mean, my mentality was, they were saying, well, you're going to be able to do the old curriculum and pathways for a year, and you could qualify and do both, and you would actually get the information for one and get your first path. I thought, well, 2 for 1. That's when I'm finally going to join. And I remember that morning in Tom's Diner when I upright and said, who's got a membership application? I think I put everybody into a stunned silence. It was a while, yeah. So thank you, everybody, and I'm glad I'm here.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you everyone for doing double duty. We all know we have places to fill and things to do. So now I need a timers report so we know if everyone qualifies for the vote.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm pleased to report that all 3 of our contestants qualified, Eric at 133, Marty at 132, and Jill at 156. Thank you.
And our word master, did everyone remember Smokey this morning? Les.
Jackie, yes. Eric, Marty, and Jill all use the word smoky.
Thank you. And now you can cast your ballot for one of the 3 table topics participants this morning. Eric, Marty, or Jill. Thank you. So here we are with a very slim number of people this morning. I don't know why that is, but I've noticed our numbers have been dwindling. I remember when we always had a minimum of 25 people at a meeting. Back when our club was roaring along with 40 or more members. I think I'm seeing some things that we need to improve on if we want our club to increase its strength again. I know we got a wonderful email from Kate last night, in spite of her illness, that she has managed to corral 3 people. One is a returning member and then 2 new members. And they're all women that I've been in contact with in the community. Jessica, who runs an art studio, who used to be one of our members, is coming back. and her friend Jessica, who's a very interesting young woman, also involved in the art world, and Grace, who is very involved with the Main Street project in the city of Lockport. So they're all people who are busy and committed and also wanting to improve themselves. I'm really looking forward to having them be part of the club. And that will move us into President's Distinguished for the year. Something else that we try to achieve that used to be much easier than it is these days. So one of the things we need, and a word that I picked when I wasn't sure whether Les was going to make it or not this morning, was commitment. Because we need to be committed. We are members of this club, and that means we need to support this club, to support the other members who are trying to improve themselves and help them to do that. And that's only going to happen if we're here, if we're part of the meeting. I really am disappointed when people only show up when they have a job. They don't bother coming unless they're on the schedule. And I think that's kind of a sad thing. Maybe we could all work on improving our runs batted in and make sure we're here for everybody. So now we will move into the speaking portion of the meeting. Our first speaker is going to be Marty Johnston. And he will be evaluated by Sylvia Baptiste, who's coming up right now to tell us a little bit about his speech and what his goals might be. Sylvia.
This morning, I have the pleasure of evaluating, gonna pronounce my words better, Marty Johnson. He's working under the Dramatic Leadership Level 3 elective, delivering social speeches. This is a two-parter, so he's doing the first speech, which is 3 to 4 minutes, Lynn. And the purpose for Marty's speech, he is going to honor or praise an organization or a group this morning. And I'm going to listen to see how well organized, well delivered the speech is, and is it appropriate topic that he is doing. Let's see, I said 3 to 4 in his title. Jackie has his title, Marty Johnson.
I remember when Marty came to meetings with his son as a toddler, and he hung on the back of Marty's chair to steady himself because he was just starting to walk. So Marty's been with us for a long time because that young man is all grown now and starting his future as an adult. So Marty is going to favor us this morning with a speech titled, "For All You Will Be Doing." Marty Johnston, please come up and give us your speech.
Jackie. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Before I begin, I need some help before we start the timing, if I may. I need to know if anyone that's here has the list of club officers that will be coming in July. Is anyone here going to be a club officer in July? What will your role be?
Marty, I'm the membership person. This is Les.
And Les is Vice President Membership. President will be Katie. VP of E, Nancy. How about PR? Eric. Treasurer, Beth Banks, and Sergeant at Arms Florio. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Madam Toastmaster, thank you. Any guests? Welcome. There are many groups that deserve praise. We all deserve praise. In Toastmasters, there are definitely times to give praise. And as Jackie mentioned, we had more members, we'd definitely be giving praise, and she gave us some good ideas and thoughts and what she feels would help things to focus on for next year. This morning, I'll be informing you of a group that I feel is worthy of praise. The group is the membership of AM Lockport, those present, those on Zoom, and those that aren't here this morning, here or Zoom. The members are the club officers that will be taking their roles and responsibilities starting July 1st. And starting off, I will just going to remind you of who they are. Thank you for your input. Now that I have the list, the roles and the responsibilities, starting with the club president will be Katie. I'm glad she's on the mend. Katie will be leading the club towards its goals. It'll be her main responsibility, providing information that's disseminated down from the district and other club officers, presenting it to us. Our vice president of education will be Nancy Ferry, who'll be planning for quality club meetings and scheduling meeting roles, which I feel is vitally important. And I'm glad that AM Lockport does that. And I think that's the reason we have over 10 DTMs, because the roles are scheduled. We get things done. Vice president of membership will be Les Robinson, Les prospects for new members and carries out member building activities. Those are his main responsibilities. Where Eric, vice president of PR, promotes the club, if you will, in the public eye. Informing and inviting will be Eric's thrust and his responsibility, informing and inviting prospective members. Carol Ann, as secretary, will be keeping a record of club officer meetings and helps maintain the club officer list on the TI website. Our treasurer, Beth Banks, will be informing members of dues payment, when dues are due, April and October, and keeping an accurate bank account. Those will be Beth's main responsibility. Sergeant at Arms will be Mike Florio. It's nice to see Mike coming back to the club, stepping up and taking on a club officer role. Mike will be helping maintain club property as a sergeant at arms. I know right now there's not a whole lot to do because we're on Zoom, but there are some definite things to do. And I know Len is the main guy. We couldn't do it without Len, but we have Mike Florio to help set up the room, make sure the banner's in place, the lectern is in place, tables and chairs, room set up. AM Lockport club officers taking on new roles for July 1st is definitely something that is wonderful, and it's a great experience. And I would like to propose a toast for AM Lockport club officers for all you do. Thank you. Cheers. AM Lockport. Thank you. Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Marty. And now we move into our next speech, which will be evaluated by Carol Ann. And our speaker will be Steve Smith. So Carol Ann, please come up and tell us about Steve's speech. And then we will hear from him this morning.
This morning, Steve is giving a speech. social speech. And this is his second speech of that type. The speech is 3 to 4 minutes. And Jackie, do you have the title?
And I do have his title because he kindly put it into the website last night. So this morning, we're going to hear from Steve. This sounds kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but he is giving an award and he's substituting the name of the actual recipient so that it will still be a surprise when it happens this evening. And of course, I put down my sheet of paper with my title on, so I don't have it up here, but it's the Red Clark Award. So Steve, please come forward.
Thank you. Before I launch into this, let me, and this is being part of the time. Monday night at our board meeting, I was begged to give out this award because the man that normally does it won't be available and nobody else wanted to get up on stage. Will you do this? Sure, I'll do it. Every year, the Lions Club gives out this award at class night, which is tonight. Duh. So I thought this is a great chance just to rehearse this because I believe, and this is my first speech, not the second one. I believe this is the first time I've ever been asked to give out an award. Okay. So I get introduced, I come up. Good evening. My name is Steve Smith. I am the current president of the Wilson Lions Club. I'm here tonight to award the Floyd Red Clark Scholarship. Now, Floyd Clark was a man of very humble beginnings. Yet with only a 7th grade education, he made a very successful business. He was a prominent member of our local community. He had an extremely strong work ethic, which helped him overcome many obstacles in his life, never letting anything get in the way of what he wanted to achieve. He valued his church, his family, and was committed to the community. He was a proud and outstanding member of the Wilson Lions Club from '62 until his death in 2010. Now, the following year, his wife, Mary Clark, and his family decided that they would organize and fund the Floyd Clark Scholarship Award. So it gets awarded to a student who must be accepted into an accredited post-high school technical program or college. It's awarded to a student who best reflects Mr. Clark's attributes. Ambitious, self-motivated, observant, resourceful, hardworking, civic-minded. High grades in sports performance really isn't a consideration in this award. It's more about what you want to give to the community. So every year they review candidates, the Lions Club, and a representative of the Clark family look over the candidates and decide who will be winning. And it's my honor at this time to announce the winner of this year's Floyd Clark Scholarship, which is, by the way, a $5,000 scholarship award. And that student is John Doe. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And now we will have our third and final speech. Nancy Ferry will be giving us a speech this morning, and she'll be evaluated by Mark Campos. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about Nancy's speech, please?
I certainly can. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning. Nancy is working from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway, a level 3 elective, effective body language. The purpose of her project is for the member to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how she uses nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. Her time, Mr. Timer, is 5 to 7 minutes, And Madam Toastmaster, I won't ask if you have the title because I know you have the title being as prepared as you are. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. And I do. And I'm very interested to hear what Nancy has to say this morning. Be like a sunflower, Nancy Ferry.
Wish sunflowers experienced glasses and cataracts and not glasses and in that dilemma area. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. And I wish there were guests, to quote Dave. I've had many teachers in my life, school teachers, parents, grandparents. There's teachers all around us. One of my favorite poets is Rumi, from he's a Sufi from the 13th century. And he says, there is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. Nature has taught me many lessons in life. Ian Shamir is credited with the advice from trees. Remember your roots. Drink plenty of water. Be content with your natural beauty. Stand tall and proud. Enjoy the view, and don't be afraid to step out on a limb. Sunflowers stand tall as well. They usually bring a smile. I saw several people smile as I held up a sunflower. Many people just, because they're called sunflowers, that's why they make us smile. They're heliotropic. They follow the sun. I want to be more like a sunflower, so that even on the darkest days or the smokiest days, I will still stand tall and find the light and happiness within inside of me. And stop dwelling on negatives in life. The sun is very dependable. Even the sunflowers faced east after the sun sets. And they're anticipating the sun's warmth again in the morning. The sun paints the sky at sunrise and sunset with the smoky skies. The sunsets have been a little weird. Even the clouds, when the clouds are blocking the sun. I learned from the sun to be dependable, to take one day at a time, enjoy the journey, and that every day the sun rises, whether we see it or not, and there are new possibilities and opportunities. Now those clouds, they're a little bit fickle. They change ever so quickly, but they've taught me to take one breath at a time, to allow thoughts to flow through my mind like clouds, and I don't have to entertain every thought that goes through my mind. There are some thoughts I can say thank you very much and pass them on. There's not much that we can control in life. Anything can change quickly. The clouds have taught me also to think outside of that box. Clouds bring rain. I grew up near the ocean, and I think that's one reason why I've always been drawn to water. Whether it's walking in the rain or trying to navigate a kayak through the water, watching the waterfalls, maybe at Niagara Falls. I could do that for hours. It's the same. It looks the same, but I could just sit there and I get so mesmerized. A lightning storm at the ocean, sucking in the beauty of a quiet lake. I'm always amazed. We can't live without water. I also grew up the same place in a flood zone and have experienced the devastating damage that water is capable of doing, including having to evacuate my home many times. The strength and power of water can make electricity wear down rocks from mountains, toss ashore a fossilized stone from 4 million years ago, and it's smooth. Water has taught me respect. and that life goes on with or without me. Not to take things for granted. This stone wasn't always smooth. I'm sure it was craggy, part of a mountain. Reminds me that life can toss us around a bit. We can all go through rough times. But there's hope that some of those rough edges will be smoothed out within time. Now, animals in nature, they're another category. They're all by themselves. Just go to the zoo. They're wonderful teachers. My favorite, otters. They just teach me not to take life seriously. And insects that work together, ants and bees, they work in colonies to show us that we need each other. They build community, they cooperate together to meet goals, to make life better for everyone, not just themselves. Life is full of mystery, beauty, order, chaos, joy, wonder, sadness, loss, death. What death has taught me is to live. Everything is connected. I tell you this, the connection in a forest beats the strongest Wi-Fi there ever was. In honor of the indigenous peoples who knew the land and treated it with the deepest reverence and respect, I offer to you these words, credited to be from an Apache blessing. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your body. May you walk gently throughout the world and know its beauty all of your days. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Nancy. And Mr. Timer, would you give us a time report for our speakers?
Certainly, Madam Toastmaster. I'm pleased to report that all three of our speakers came in the requisite time frame. Marty at 3:58, Steve with the buffer at 2:34, and Nancy at 6:31. Also a small announcement, somebody left their ticket, 50/50 ticket over on the counter. It's mine. You gotta fight me for it. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you, Lenny. So please cast your ballot now for one of our speakers, all of whom did a wonderful job. I'm sorry they didn't have a bigger audience this morning. And that's one of the things, again, that supporting the membership would do. If you come, whether you have a job or not, and cheer on the speakers, give them your comments about what kind of a job they did or places that they might want to beef things up a little bit so that their speech is even better than it was when we heard it. Another thing everyone needs to do is get on the Toastmaster website, our club website, so that you fill in the blanks on the agenda and respond when you're given a job or when there's a blank space and someone needs to fill in, but also get on that TI site. Toastmasters International has a lot of good information. If you surf around and read bits at a time, you can find out things that are very helpful for your performance and also for your commitment to the goal of Toastmasters, which is always self-improvement, something we all need to think about all the time. If you become aware of a new idea or something that you want to develop, and then you're willing to change, you can learn a lot about yourself. You can focus on those paths and help yourself through things. Commit to a new habit how you're going to speak, the ways that you will say things. I know I've learned something important, and that's to stop and think. Many of us have a habit of waiting for our turn to speak rather than actually listening to that person while they're talking and reflect on what they're saying, not just giving your opinion, but sharing what they're talking about and learning from them. I have learned something new at every Toastmasters meeting I've gone to, whether it's in our club or out in the world, sharing with other clubs in the district or outside the district. You develop your own character in the ways that you speak and the things that you talk about. And you get ideas from other people when you're listening to them, when you're actually listening and not just waiting for your turn to speak. Well, I think we've given our evaluators enough time to come up with a few notes and get ready. And I see Sylvia's on deck, as she should be, waiting for her turn to come up here and tell us what she thought this morning. Sylvia.
Thank you, Marty, for praising an organization well-deserved. Toastmasters is well-deserved of a good praise now and then. Give us a pat on the back. We need to. It's a kind of a best kept secret here in Lockport, isn't it? I know you're trying to get out, you do media, but it seems like it's not hitting the people. I'm not sure what the solution is for that. But back to Marty's speech in his praise of the organization. Like I said, I liked you picked this organization, not some other one. And to improve a little bit, I would like you to work on is you had notes today. You had a lot of notes. And with those notes, your head was down a lot. So you didn't look at the camera, you didn't look at us in general, and we're not many here today, but you had the head down more than normal. And that's unusual for you. I see you out there, usually you're in front of the podium here and you're giving big gestures, and your gestures were pretty small because you were behind this podium. So I would like to have you work on that for your next speech. I think your next speech is going to knock it out of the ballpark because you always strive to improve. And that's the one good thing about you, Marty, and it's really comforting to hear. You had our attention, you had my attention, not because I was your evaluator, but I wanted to hear more about the people who were coming in, the officers. And the topic was appropriate, like I said. And I do know your next speech will, like I said, improve dramatically. I'm not sure if you're going to pick the same organization or if you're going to change it up a little bit. And that might be a creative thing to do. Try to figure out how to change it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Our next evaluator will be Carol Ann, and we're going to hear from her.
I think we all admire Steve for the fact that he just found out that he was going to be giving the speech when they approached him. And due to the fact that he's a Toastmaster, that gave him the courage to do it. He started out with a little bit of humor as to how he ended up having to do this. But he has good clarity and eye contact, although he did read things about Mr. Clark and about all the qualities that the student had to have. And of course, there were so many, it'd be hard to memorize it in the length of time he's had to prepare. He showed enthusiasm for the award, and I think it's I'm impressed that the Lions Club and other organizations give awards, because I think we give young people maybe some negative thoughts because of things we see in the news, but I am very impressed that that there are students out there that we can really admire that qualify for an award like this. I think the main point of improvement would be to slow down just a little. It's I mean, that's your manner of speaking. Just normally, you kind of are very fast when you speak. To me, anyway. But I think too, with this, when you have just a minimal time in a speech, you're conscious of that green light coming on and waiting for the red one. But it was a very informative, enjoyable speech.
All right, and our final, excuse me, final evaluator this morning will be Mark Campos evaluating Nancy. Mark.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Nancy. It certainly was a privilege for me this morning to evaluate Nancy, who's truly grown into a very accomplished speaker. Be like a sunflower, a very positive, uplifting message. Nancy's skills as a speaker, were evident this morning in a number of ways. Let's start with how she worked the room. I thought you were very good at altering your glance when you looked up in the room, left and right, engaging different people in the room. I love the use of the props, the sunflower, of course, and especially, I don't know if you consciously did this, but you held it up and then you set it down on the lectern, and it was there for the rest of the speech and knowing your speech title, it just jived so beautifully in that way. And you had the rock as well. In terms of gestures, since the objective was effective body language, I thought you were great. I thought they were very smooth, and several times it accentuated the words you were using. You talked about the sun with a sweep. You talked about roots, moving your hands down, very effectively done. I thought your use of notes, you were good at not looking down excessively. You would catch what you needed to see and keep glancing up, and I thought you did that very effectively. You had some vocal variety in the speech. I think all too often we think of vocal variety in terms of being loud and bombastic, but there was a point where you softened your delivery and it almost drew me in more, where I was leaning in to listen, and I thought that was very effective. And I really liked your conclusion to the speech as well. Now, building upon all these strengths, I think your speech could have been even more effective in just a few ways. And let's start with some Zoom stuff. And good thing Margot's not here, because I think I'd get in trouble for using stuff. But your eye contact with the camera, it's very challenging. It would have been nice to have you engage with us out here in Zoom land. And another thing, and I guess it's just a challenge for those who are a little smaller in stature, that microphone was right in front of your face. And for a while, for me, it was highly distracting. Not much you could do about it. Maybe use the lavalier mic. The other thing, as good as you were looking up from your notes, I would challenge you to be less reliant upon your notes. I think you've got the skill set that you could have put on that lavalier mic, come out in front of the lectern, and really had us in the palm of your hand with this particular speech. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed both the content and delivery of your speech, and I want to thank you again for a very positive and uplifting message, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Now we need our final report from the timer. Mr. Timer.
I don't know if anybody's keeping track. I heard somebody say podium twice today. Twice. This is a lectern. It will always be a lectern. I'm pleased to report all of our evaluators qualified as well with their time. Sylvia came in at 213, Carol Ann 231, and Mark 308. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Len. You said it. I was trying to not say it. It's a lectern. Lectern. You get up onto a podium. Sometimes you sit on a podium or a dais. Dais. Okay. So now vote for one of our wonderful evaluators this morning who all did a good job. And I refrained from telling people they did a good job because you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't make comments on the speakers. It may affect someone's vote, and it's not really appropriate. Something happened this morning that I thought was great, and that was people getting on deck so that there's not a long lag time watching a speaker come up from their seat and finally get up here for the handshake and turning things over. If you get on deck, it helps, especially I think for the people on Zoom. Kind of boring to be lost in space for those few minutes. You're not seeing them come up on deck. You're just knowing there's something happening, but you can't see it and you can't hear anything. So you have this big, dramatic, long pause. So getting up on deck, I think, is an important thing to do for the flow of the meeting. Nancy left me her rock. She doesn't know I have a rock collection. I bring rocks back from places I vacation in and treasure rocks that are particularly attractive. And I think a lot of them are very attractive. This one's kind of polished and shiny, and someone etched the word dream in it. So that's a nice thought. All right. We have very few reports to hear today. So I guess maybe we could start with our quiz master and get the quiz master report and the questions that we in the room and those few people on Zoom will struggle to answer. So Mr. Quizmaster, turning it over to you.
I'd like to, oh dear. I'd like to point out that this was a quick trip in a time machine. And I went back to 1982 at Friendly's when this was the attendance. Now we grew and we had an amazing growth. And if you're on Facebook, and every now and then a photo comes up with the Tom's Diner where we take a group photo and you can barely get everybody in the frame. Now we grew from nothing, but now, as it was pointed out earlier, we're not going anywhere because we got so many DTMs and so many award winners and so many accomplished speakers. That's the end of the sermon. Now my job as quizmaster. First question is, where does Jill get her quotes?
The Farmer's Almanac.
Very good. Who brought Eric to Toastmasters? Katie, yes.
Katie,
Katie Bennings.
All right, now I can't resist throwing in a trick question every now and then. This is indeed a trick question. How long was Jill a guest?
A long time.
Well,
a real long time.
What I put down, what I put down as an answer was nobody knows. It's just lost in the dustbin of history. But I remember my first response to her icebreaker. I said, "The hell took you so long?" That's another example. That lady's a Toastmaster. She never knew it until she found out about us. And that's where you should recruit. Another sermon, I'm sorry. I'm not done here. When does the new term begin? Good.
Next year, July 1st.
Yes. The recipient of the Floyd Clark Award is going to have to prove that he's going to what kind of school? Very good. That's the point I want to make, because as it was pointed out, and this is Clark rigging, right? So this man is for some of the great education. That's really something. Nancy told us that sunflowers are, what special trick do they have? Thank you. Thank you. Nancy's favorite zoo animal is? Otters. Jackie urged us to sharpen what skill?
Showing up.
That's not the one that I looked for, but it's a good one, huh?
Showing up. Coming to a meeting.
Bingo, thank you. I was looking for listening. Sylvia urged Marty to get rid of what? Very good. Carol Ann urged Steve to what? Thank you. Yes, very good. Mark praised Nancy for working the room and challenged her to be less reliant on notes. So there was an echo today. There's a statement about notes, and then there was an echo later on with another evaluator. And just my final thought. I'm having a terrible time recruiting people to this club and a worse time recruiting them to the Sunrise Optimist. But that's never stopped me before.
Thank you, thank you. And now we'll ask Les to hold his word master report till the very end, but give us his grammarian and master report. Les Robinson.
Thank you. We had basically Sylvia with 2 O's and Carolyn with 4 O's. And the only really grammatical error, which Mark caught on the way through, he started with speecher, which ended up as speaker. Otherwise, everyone else did a great job.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, I invited all of you to be my general evaluators. Would anybody like to come up and make any comments? You noticed I waited till David left the room. Would anybody like to make any comments about today's meeting?
I'll make a comment from Zoom, which
Okay.
will give you some time for someone to make their way to the lectern. I thought as a Toastmaster, you did an absolutely outstanding job. Clearly, attendance was limited today. Not a lot of people to draw upon. You never missed a beat. very fluid in terms of how you kept things going, as if you had planned it out from the beginning, that you would be running table topics and you would engage all of us as your general evaluators. So great job orchestrating the meeting today, Jackie.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else have anything to say? No? No. All right. Marty, did you have an announcement you wanted to make? Oh, I'm sorry. Len. Okay.
Jackie, I want to thank you for noticing the people came up here when they were on deck. That's something that's been a thorn in my side for a long time. And if I could give just a little mini Zoom report here. We're getting better. Couple things worth remembering. Never touch the on-off switch on this mic. It stays on all the time. I can control the volume over there. I cannot turn it on remotely, so don't turn that on. Turn it off rather. We have the headset mic. We also have another wireless mic. There's absolutely no reason you can't just take the mic and come out in front here. Now we're challenged with this lectern and this particular setup to supporting people who are from 4'11" to 6 foot plus. Okay, so the camera has to get even the tallest person in view, and we try not to hide anybody's face behind this rigging here that holds the microphone, but it's a constant process to tweak it for our membership. We are working on it, always tweaking little things here. I think that's all I had. Everybody was talking into the mic today. That was refreshing because the mics only work when you talk in them. You can't talk to the side. Okay, so don't ever do that. Even though you can see better to the side of the microphone, use the microphone. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Good points. Very good points. Okay, David, you got back in time. Come on up and give me your evaluation as a general evaluator.
You did an excellent job. Except you used the word podium.
I did not.
Oh, you did not? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were the second one. All right. I got an idea in view of the Zooming and the YouTubing. So you sit there, you watch that screen, and you start the applause when the person approaching the lectern comes into the shot. When they go out of the shot, you can stop applauding. So we'll have two big bursts instead of diminished ones at the end. That's just a thought, Madam Toastmaster. You're welcome.
All right. Les, are you ready to give your word report? Are
Yes, I
things
am.
still
Yes, I am.
smoky out there?
It's still smoky and it's bothering my allergies, so I'm loving life. All right, we're gonna do something that has not been done at Toastmasters for a while. The word kind of died out. So basically, let's all say smoky, and we will all
Smoky.
smoky, and then we've all done the word. Yay!
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
Les. Smoky. I think we'll probably all be using that word over the next couple of days because I don't think this is going away very quickly. All right, let's wrap things up then. Our best evaluator today was Mark Campos. Our best table topic speaker was Jill Roaring. There you are, ma'am.
It's coming up as officer.
Yes. And our best speaker today was Nancy Ferry. And now I will turn the meeting over to our officer of the day. Collect all my debris.
All your debris. Yay, Nancy. Nancy. Here.
I didn't put a ticket in, so it won't be me.
Want to read it? Or you want me to?
Last three numbers, 838.
838, everybody. Sylvia, yay. She can pay for herself here. I would like to add one other thing to why it took me so long to join Toastmasters. Mentally, I did not want to join until I felt I could pay for it myself. And I was on welfare for 7 years. And that didn't give me very much money to spend. I was dependent on Steve, definitely. And I didn't want to depend on him completely. So finally I did get approved for disability but I joined Toastmasters before that. Steve said he didn't care. Back to closing the meeting out. Next week, Beth is our Toastmaster. She's not here to say yes or no. Our speakers, none of them are here to say yes or no. Mike Florio, Katie, and Thomas Heldwine, with Dave Okada as our alternate. Yeah, I think you might want to plan. Put you down as alternate. Yeah. As the schedule stands now, we do need one evaluator, and also myself and Gerald are evaluators. So that's what I have for next week. Are there any more? Marty has an announcement. Yay.
Thank you, Madam Officer of the Day. Back to, we were talking about membership and getting people to come to the meetings. Does anyone remember the word recognition? Recognition. Recognition is one of the, what's the word looking for? The word I'm looking for, recognition. It's something that we should do at meetings, we should recognize. And I know today we recognize achievement by handing out the ribbons. I think we might, in my opinion, I think we might be missing the boat with Pathways. I think Pathways offers recognition, and I don't think we're utilizing it, in my opinion. There is something called badges and certificates. I think it would be so awesome if when a member achieved a level, Jill, congratulations on your Pathways accomplishment. And that's number one. David.
Perhaps in the future, if somebody completes a pathway, we could put that in the news.
Definitely.
Out in the media.
I think definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's number one. That's number one. Anyone else have anything else? Okay. Right. I understand that, definitely. I think the VP of E can look and track and look at that information. And second and lastly, club officer training is Saturday, June 10th from 9 to noon. If you can't make that, Tuesday, June 13th from 6 to 9. It's the first round of club officer training, as you know, for officers serving July 1st through June 30th of next year. It's Zoom format, no pre-registration needed. When you sign in, you can put your name, Joe or Mary Doe, and then put your officer role. So the club gets credit for your officer role. We need at least 4 members trained this time period, and then there's a second time period. And each time period, you get a half a point. So you get a half a point now, and then later in the year when they have the second round, you get the other half a point. So everyone that attends is helping the club reach in the Distinguished Club program. And I would like to say kudos to Dr. Gerald Stevens for his leadership and guidance this past Toastmaster year, because we are edging up on President's Distinguished once again.
Yep.
And it's great to hear that Katie has some prospects in the wing.
Managed to.
Awesome. Back to you. Thank you, Madam Officer of the Day.
Yes. Yes, and back to the recognition, that was. I attended 4 officer trainings in the 2 years that I've been VP of membership. 1 or 2 of them were really bad. Really. bad. Couple of them did stress the recognition of awards, and they have been getting lost. We aren't. I think sometimes some of these path levels are kind of quick to accumulate. And at this point, to do a triple crown, I think you only need to do 3 levels in 1 year, which really isn't that hard. Especially if you hold back filling out your reports like I've been doing. Yeah, that too. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we do need to do the recognition thing better. And it's one more job for the VP of E. Maybe that somehow we can help somebody else do it as part of the, as a subset of the VPE. I'm not sure. Yeah. So with that being said, I don't know of anything else other than watch this Wilson Star Search Facebook page Saturday. We'll announce at noon whether we're going to go or not. The forecast is in your favor, I believe. The forecast is in our favor, Dave believes, but he is an optimist as well, yes. A card carrying sunrise optimist, which, yes. He's got his Bills tickets again, so that proves it. Well, man, Josh
Okay,
Allen is
Bill.
now on the cover of Madden this year.
Hey, Jill,
Hmm?
this is Les. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. You know how you know that Dave Licata and Les Robinson are in the Sunrise Optimist Club today?
How?
We're both wearing yellow shirts.
Oh, well, we really can't see your shirt too much. Just, you have to see. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better view. Yeah. Very good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, blue and gold are. What is it? Classic colors, yes. Michigan has maize in blue. Maize. It's not yellow, it's maize. So that our meeting is over.